just 2 weeks behind Knox Johnson, he continued eastwards for another lap of the Southern Ocean to save my soul, as he put it. This is the real solo race, sailing like it's 1968.
Forcément, tous les gens qui reviendront de la Golden Globe Race, forcément, il faut s'attendre à ce qu'ils aient changé.
It's a great story, and it's the 50th anniversary, and it's a great opportunity to relive the original solo sailing when technology wasn't available, where we're just using sextants and wind-up clocks to find your position. And it's really the story of humanity and human endeavour in the extreme. So the world has never seen anything like this event.
Well, g'day everybody. This is number 7 of our 2022 GGR entrants. We've got Ian Herbert-Jones in a minute. And just remember, if you want to ask questions, you can just put it in as a comment and say g'day, and you can grill Ian, me, and we'll see how we go. A few things happening this week. In fact, I'll get Ian up right now so we can discuss all the different bits and pieces. You should pop up right now. G'day, Ian. Hello.
Hey, Don, how are we doing?
You can hear me? Yeah, I'm good. And you?
Yeah,
so,
pretty good.
So where are you?
Good, hang it in.
We might have a delay. Where are you now?
So I'm in Shropshire, in the centre of the UK, right in the middle of England.
Shropshire. Where'd that name come from?
Yeah. Well, as far away from the sea as you can get in the UK.
All right, I'm in Hobart, of course, still here, although we're going to move to Adelaide soon. On the middle of next month, we move to Adelaide. We've got some things happening there, so I'll be closer to Captain Coconut. That'll be a worry. Anyway, so this week, some gossip, things going on. Gurav is about to launch his boat, or has already just launched his boat, so that's kind of cool. He'll be excited about sailing. Michael Davey is also moving his boat about half a kilometre or something. He's got to move the boat, so he's carrying on in New Zealand. And Michael Gugg, okay, he's Guggenheim. I call him Michael Guggenheim. And he's actually got hold of his new boat, which was Antoine Cousseau's boat from previous race. So he's finally on board in the Sable in France, and he'll be sailing shortly. So that's kind of cool. Michael Date is either has launched his boat today or he's about to tomorrow or something. So he's finished his sort of main part of his refit. He sent me a message yesterday or the day before, chafing at the bit to go sailing now. So that's cool. And Urton is on his way to the Azores. He finally cracked it out of the med. And oh no, he didn't get into the med, but he's on his boat on his way to the Azores. So I can hear him screaming from here for joy. You know, he's quite happy to be back on the water. So that's cool. And so what's happening with you and your boat?
So we're still locked, effectively still locked down, Don. So my boat's in Wales, and in the UK, England is beginning to open up, but Wales is a few weeks behind. So I haven't been near the boat for 12 weeks now. However, local boat builders can get to the boat at the moment. So the plan is, even though we didn't finish the refit work we wanted to do, we're going to launch her hopefully this week. And then fingers crossed, Wales will open up to visitors around the 6th of July.
Okay.
So I'm going to put her in the water.
Too much information.
Finish off. Okay.
No, it's good. That's what I'm going to do. That's what you want to do. You want to get out and get on your boat. And for those that don't know, I think most people know that you've got Istvan's boat, Tradewind 35, fantastic boat, really cool. So that's kind of good. Okay, so we've got to go right back to the beginning. That's what I was trying to get you off before we get too far into where you are now. So where did you start sailing? Why and how?
Okay, so I'm a late starter, so I have no family sailing background whatsoever. But I joined the army at 17, and while I was in the army, I was introduced to sailing.
How long?
About 7 years.
And what were you doing? What division? What section?
So I was in the what's known as the REME, Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. So I was an aircraft engineer or an avionics engineer, actually.
Okay, well, that'll do you well. That'll do you well.
Yeah.
GGR, plenty of electricals, so that's cool. And so, so you started sailing. How? What were you sailing into? What you introduced by them in their sailing program?
I mean, the Army do loads of sailing. They use it as adventure training. And so a good friend of mine, Chris Late, who I was in the Army with, who actually came when I bought Puffin from Isfahan. He was with me in Saab D'Alone, Chris. So we go back since we were 17. He introduced me to sailing in the Army, and then it was, as I say, it was adventure training. So the idea was it wasn't a cruise. You weren't there to be comfortable. It was about being at, it was used for training purposes.
So what was the boat and where'd you go?
Oh, there was also Nicholson's, Nick 55s, Halberg Rassies. We had a fleet of Halberg Rassies back in the day.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
It's all around the south coast of the UK mainly, but also Kiel up in the Baltic and so on. But mainly south coast UK, France, Channel Islands, that type of sailing, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so married, kids. What's the story?
Yeah, whole 9 yards. So married to Sally, my number one sponsor for the event. I got 3 kids: Thomas, Owen, and Emma, twins, who are now 19, and Emma's 14. So all still at home.
So what do they think? What do they think about you and the GGR?
It's interesting. It's kind of what Dad does. So I've been talking about this stuff for so long that it's just not much of a surprise, really. Yeah. Sally's the best, right? Sally says, "Don't talk to me about it. Make it an option. Choose to do it, and then get on with it." But I don't want to hear about it every night of the week. So,
that's cool.
So I can't have better than that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So what transitioned you from adventure sailing into the idea of doing the GGR? When did that whole thing start?
Okay, Don, I've got to believe, like most of the competitors, that there's something going on in the back of your mind for many years before the GGR ever came around. That whole idea, they call it what you like, a dream of that type of voyage. This is not tropical island voyaging. It was the extreme voyage, and the idea of solo. I'd read all the books and so on. When you put this out 2015, I emailed you. I heard about it. Somebody said to me, "You'll like this, Ian. Take a look at this." I'm sure it was 2015. I dropped you an email. You said, "Yeah, you're on if you want to do this." Yeah. But it was just the wrong time. Life, money, jobs. The enormity of it was too much at that moment. I'd done a clipper race previously, a few years before, so I knew just enough to be dangerous, if that makes sense.
This is I just put a photo of your clipper boat up. How far did you go? What were you doing then?
So that's Clipper Singapore. That's 2008. I did the whole thing. I did the circumnavigation with Clipper.
Okay.
Sit here. Yeah. So that was my first real offshore adventure, to be quite frank. And
what was that like? What was that like?
Just amazing. It's got to be life-changing, right? It's a cliche, but it's a fact as well. It's not a trip anymore. It's a way of life. Yeah. So for 10 months of my life, and the prep beforehand. So 12 months of my life, that's what I was doing. I was living out in the Far East at the time when I came across the Clipper. I knew Robin, right, from the books. I knew about Robin. I knew about Shea Bly and all these guys. And again, Sally, same thing. She said, "Don't talk to me about it. Do it or don't do it. Get on with it."
I'm looking forward to meeting Sally. I'm sure I will.
Very clear.
Yeah. So what's worst?
That was an amazing trip.
Yeah, worst and best on the Clipper deal. What was the two moments? Worst and best.
Well, there's two things on a big crew boat. The best thing is the crew, and sometimes the worst thing is the crew, right? So this is where solo sailing comes from. You want to be without them. Sometimes you don't want to be with them. It's a long time at sea with a group of people. Yeah. Clipper was just amazing. South Africa, coming around the coast of South Africa was stunning.
Look, I tell people to think about it all the time. It's a great opportunity. I mean, it costs money, but life costs money, and if you can do it, wow, it's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like watch leader. This was before they had sort of a mate on board.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's two watch leaders, and I ended up being watch leader for the whole journey, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't suppose I realized it at the time, but it definitely planted a very firm seed.
Yeah.
But of course, you come back from that and you go back to work.
Yeah.
And you go back, you've got to pay for it, you've got the families growing up, time moves on, you're back to weekend feeling again, right?
So you're going into this with a bit of interesting perspective. You've already been round in a bigger boat, and you know what the weather does, and you know what's involved. So I can anticipate that that gives you the confidence, but it must make you really antsy to get out there and do it. You must be really excited about doing it because you know what it means.
Super excited, and not just but getting out there on my boat on Puffin.
Yeah,
because it's time on the water in your platform. You can become really expert on a big 70-foot boat, and then you jump on another boat single-handed, and it's a new learning experience, right? So.
Yeah. So you sent me some pictures. This is rather poignant. This is the pedestal, and those of you that followed the GGR last time, poor Istvan, what's the deal there? What's the story?
So Istvan did an amazing job on the boat and going around, and his Golden Globe race was just phenomenal. He's unstoppable, right? Istvan is not a man to be stopped easily. Absolutely unstoppable. So his big challenge was steering and the way that the wind vane interacted with the steering and so on. So when I picked the boat up from Saab D'Lone, of course, the steering was basically knackered, as we'd say. So I did a temporary fix to get us home, and first part of the refit was to rebuild the steering. So she's perfect.
Okay, and you heard what he's up to now, haven't you? Have you heard that? I don't think it's not a secret. Yeah. For those that haven't heard yet, and I don't think I'll let it. That's pretty much public knowledge. He bought the boat back. There was his original boat that he did his solo circumnavigation in 1990. That's when I bumped into him. I was going around Cape Horn in the BOC Challenge in my 50-footer with one of the first military GPSs and all that stuff. And I hear this guy come up on the radio saying, well, he was on a sextant and had it in a sight for about 7 days, and I hear about this little guy going around this little boat, And so anyway, he does the GGR, and I really think he wants to race against himself now. So he bought that boat back again. It's a 34-footer, and he's prepping it to go do another solo non-stop in that, which will be quite interesting, eh?
There's a nice little story, Don. On Puffin, the compass, the binnacle compass on Puffin, had come from Istvan's previous boat. So it'd been around the world, around the world a second time. And of course, he sold me the boat and everything on it, as was. Yeah. And he left me a little note, and hopefully his fans watching, and he said, well, maybe one day if I could buy you a new compass and so on. And it hadn't settled in. I thought, oh crikey, this compass has been around the world twice with Istvan. Yeah. So anyway, we took the compass off, we cleaned it up, and we shipped it to Hungary for him. So the original compass would go back to the boat.
Okay, and you've solved another problem by the look of it. You got a new wind vane.
I hope so. So Hydrovane was the only wind vane that I was familiar with. So I'm not trying to be clever. It's the only one I knew anything about. So that's the new one.
You had one previously on your other boat, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So just a bit of funny side story here. Your other boat that you sold to get Puffin was a seriously good boat. It would have gone anywhere, anytime. It was well kitted. So.
And it's still for sale, actually. We took it off the market. I've been using it as a floating hotel during the refit and so on. But as you say, first GGR race, I decided I couldn't do it. So I spent time, bought a boat, set the boat up for single-handed or short-handed adventure sailing. Yeah. And then the second GGR came around. I went, hell, I'm going to sell this and go for it. So.
Yeah, it happens, eh? So, so what do you think? What's the most frustrating thing about the GGR at the moment?
Just getting ready to go sailing at the moment, right? Same as everybody, I think.
Yeah. What's the best part then? What's the best part? Like the exciting part.
I love the prep. I could do boat, get organizing the boat prep and stuff. I'd like to spend more time doing it myself, but I enjoy that whole process, thinking about it, planning it. I've been learning Celestial, Don, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I've been teaching myself Celestial, so that's been fantastic.
Look, I'm going to drop a bombshell here because it's really funny, how different people have a different perspective on the GGR. Captain Coconut didn't get all the way around last time, right? He pulled into Adelaide, and that was it. It was all over. He's entered again, as everyone knows. He's doing the GGR. He's going to get his boat organised, and he'll leave in another year or so to sail around to the start in Le Sable d'Olonne. And we were chatting the other day, and he said something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, I'll do the 22, but just leave a spot for me for the 26, and maybe I'll do the 30 as well." Because I got to tell you, he's an interesting guy. I really like Mark, but he loves all the other stuff around the sailing and stuff. He's a great sailor. He'll just sail up to the start, and he'll go around again, and watch this space. I mean, anything can happen. But he's one that just loves all that other stuff, preparing the boat, the lead up to the start, the people, all that sort of thing, that whole family deal. GGR family loves it. So anyway, I digress. Word moment. Give me the first thing that pops to your head when I tell you pandemic.
Pain in the arse.
Money.
Not enough.
Brexit.
Wish we hadn't.
Overboard.
Don't.
Rump steak.
Yes, please. Yep.
Albatross.
Beautiful.
Father.
Dad.
A winner.
Yes, that'll be me. Yeah, thank you.
Family.
Everything.
Books.
Oh, too many. Not enough time. Yeah.
Impossible.
No.
Dream.
Yeah, GGR.
GPS.
Not allowed, apparently.
Holidays.
GGR.
Fear.
Management.
Broken mast.
To be avoided.
Okay, that's pretty very, very astute. So I don't know whether that was your military or your electronics background coming into those answers. They were very appropriate. So anyway, okay, here comes the fun part now. I hope you get some good numbers. Pick a number between 1 and 10.
10.
What thing could you not live without?
What thing could I not live without? My toothbrush.
Toothbrush. Boy, okay. All right, 10 to 20.
20.
What are the 3 most important things in your life, and why?
Oh, Dawn. So family, which is like, about all of them. So that's a big one. Family, health, and happiness, right?
Okay.
Philosophical,
right.
maybe.
20 to 30.
30.
Cheapers. It's funny how people pick numbers, eh? Describe yourself in 3 words.
Stubborn, optimistic, friendly.
Okay. Right, 30 to 40.
40.
40.
Pattern.
How do you deal with stress?
Bring it on. To be honest, I'm pretty good with stress. My business life is always stressful. So use stress to drive yourself forward. Use it. Turn it into a positive energy.
Yeah, it's an interesting subject, though. I have people telling me all the time, so, "Oh, how you feeling? You're stressed out, this, that," and I basically, in my own mind, I virtually never get stressed, because there's good stress and there's bad stress. If you're passionate about something, stress is it's a cool thing. It just means you've got a lot to do. You better get on with it, So it's the same. I mean, anyway, who knows? Okay. What have we got? 40 to 47.
47.
What's the most courageous thing you've ever done?
Getting married, I suppose.
Yes, I'm looking forward to meeting Sally. Okay. Why? Why was that courageous?
I'm a late starter, so it took me a while to make my mind up. So and then it took me a long time to get the confidence, the bravado up. Let's put it that way.
I'm starting to detect a backstory there. I think there's more to this story. All right, that'll be for later. Okay, pick a letter between A and K.
A.
A. Oh, jeepers. Everyone does this. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
A hot dog is a sandwich. Yeah.
It is? Okay. I'm going to give you another letter. I'm going to give you a double trick. Pick another letter between A and K.
Any letter. K.
K. If you compared yourself to an animal, what would it be?
I'm probably should be a marine animal, right? If I'm going to compare myself to an animal.
You can pick whatever you want. You could be a monkey or a snail or
how about an albatross? How about an albatross?
That's boring. Jeepers. That's like picking a dolphin. I would have said a dolphin because they're a lot of fun. But anyway, that's cool. All right, so I'm gonna bring Matthew in here right now and see if this works. So Matthew, hopefully you'll pop up on the screen right now. Hello. We all need to adjust our position now. Otherwise, we get half heads. That's it. You got it. Oh, I got to explain. Jane didn't get to do the washing this week, so neither did I. I've got an OGR shirt on. But anyway, hi, Matthew. I'm not hearing you,
I can't see Matthew, John, at my end.
Jeepers. The three of us were having a big chat before we got here, and now Matthew's gone quiet. What are you getting, Jane? You can't see anybody. You can't see Matthew. I'm looking at you, Matthew. Yeah, I've got it on the screen. What's this one here? Oh, you just popped up now. Speak, Matthew.
Hi, Don. Hi, Ian. How are you?
You got the volume turned down. That's it. Well, good to see you. I got to have a laugh about Adelaide. I forget the names. So in Australia, we've got a lot of Australian entrants, right? We've got Matthew Wright. Hang on, I got to get my thing. We've got Matthew Wright. We've got Michael Date. We've got Michael Davey. We've got Mike Smith. We've got Mark Sinclair. And who have I forgotten? There's one more there. Is that right? There's another Australian. They're all Mikes or Matthews or bloody blah, blah, blah. But anyway, good to chat. You've met Ian before. So what's up with you? Where are you now, Matthew? And where's your boat and all that sort of stuff?
So look, I'm in the emerging world centre of long distance single-handed sailors, which is Adelaide, of course, Don. With 3 gold entrants for the next race.
Actually, you're right. Hang on, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, Adelaide has Matthew, has Michael. Hang on, we've got Matthew Wright, we've got Michael Davey, we've got Mark Sinclair, and that's it out of Adelaide. Yeah.
And it sounds like soon we'll get John McIntyre again.
Oh, no, I don't know about that. But anyway, that's another story. So you've got another bloody rustler. It's always interesting. We've always got these things. There's always someone with a rustler around at Tradewind 35. So why do you think that you're going to beat Ian in your rustler?
Look, actually, I don't know the Tradewind 35 that well. Although I did, Kevin's in the last race looked pretty good. Yeah. But I look at the boats I looked at in Europe, and the Rustler 36 is in Europe. It's in France at the moment. I bought it in the UK in Falmouth.
Yeah.
Sailed it across in the start of March.
Hang on, don't tell it too much. Don't tell us too much. We've got nothing to talk about next week. But why are you going to beat him? Come on. We want to get to the nitty gritty.
I think that they performed very well in the last race, and I think of the boats I looked at, it was the boat that I clearly liked the best. And I thought that was a good starting point, basically.
Yeah, actually, you surprised me. I remember we were talking about boats for quite a while. You were asking me things, and you had a couple to look at in England, and then all of a sudden, without saying anything, a month later, you said, and then Rustler was never on the agenda. All of a sudden, you sent me a message that I got a Rustler. I thought, oh no! So that was pretty cool.
It's just the way it turned out. Really, I hadn't gone there to look at a Rustler 36 at all, but I ended up sort of coming across this, and I'm happy with it.
Okay, so Ian, apart from tying a bucket to Matthew's keel, how are you going to beat him?
Well, Don, it doesn't matter what boat you got. You've still got to put it in the right bit of the ocean at the right time, right? So I'm going to worry about one day at a time. So
yeah, but that's Adelaide sailors are pretty good though. I got to tell you, like
yeah. They all tend to stop in Adelaide on the way past, though, right?
That's because Adelaide's such a cool place. It's very hard to sail past. But anyway,
can't argue with that.
That's another story. Jane's waving at me. I think is there someone after? I better check the questions here. Maybe someone's got a question for you. Is someone there? Nope. Oh yeah, okay. Guru, I wanted to know, but you got the answer. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And okay, so what, Ian, is your biggest fear about the GGR? As in, doing it. Forget the getting to the start line. Underway. Yeah. You're underway. What's your biggest fear about going around?
I think it's everyone. When we're honest with ourselves, we know how enormous this is. That you can't take any of it lightly. And I suppose the biggest fear is finding yourself out of your depth, right? In a scenario. I remember listening to Gregor talking about his capsize. So do I worry about it? No. When I think about planning, do I try and think how can I plan around it? So that's the biggest fear, being out of control. And there's no pause button, Don. You know that. There's no pause.
Exactly.
I'm conscious of it.
Yeah. And what about you,
Matthew?
Matthew, I'm talking only Matthews, Michael's thing. What about you, Matthew? What's your biggest fear about actually doing the race? Like, when you're underway.
Yeah, look, I think it's the whole Southern Ocean scenario, isn't it? On your own. And if you haven't done it before, which I haven't, I guess that's probably the overriding sort of concern. And I think you just got to do everything you can to prepare yourself for being in that place. But I think that's probably the biggest fear, really. There's a whole list of other concerns, and coping with the solitude and missing your family and all those things. But I think it's like Ian says, it's that you end up in a situation that you can't easily get out of.
Yeah, too true. And so, Ian, the prospect of what would you say, having the isolation of no real communication. I mean, you've got a sat phone, but you can only talk to me with the sat phone. How are you going to cope with that? What do you think is what's your tactics there? You're looking forward to it, or you're wishing it was something different?
No, it's all part of it for me. I mean, talking to you is going to be a bit of a headache every week. I did wonder if we could do that
one sometimes,
But it's absolutely part and parcel of what we're doing. And I'm going to miss everyone. Of course I am, but that's not the same as saying I'm going to be kind of lonely. So I don't know. I really don't know. But at the moment, that's part of it for me. I don't want to. The sat phone almost gets in the way of that, arguably, right? And that's maybe too romantic, but so it's all part of it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we protect that really hard. Everyone says, "Oh, you got to allow live video off the boats." And this and technology now is available to get live video off 36-foot boats. But it'll lose so much from the race if we ever do, and we never will. It is a case of getting out there and being subjected to some restrictions in communication and go to solitude. That's part of the deal. So, Matthew, what's the most fun thing you're looking for from the race? The thing. What's the thing you look? Oh, it's going to be fantastic because.
Look, I think getting to the start line for all of us will be a significant achievement. With all the prep and getting everything else in our lives to kind of line up. But I think signing up for the race is probably the huge initial first step. I think kind of after the start of the race, once you're a few weeks into it and you just get into that routine on the boat and hopefully you're happy with the way things are going, I think that might be a good place to be. So
So how competitive are you? What's the deal? Where do you slot in? Because I always say there's three groups. There's the group that just want to get around and face it. Then there's the other ones that want to do that as well. They want to get around and face it, but they want to sail as fast as they can so they don't embarrass themselves. And then there's the ones that want to win. Where do you slot?
When people ask me that question, Don, I say that I've got, it's a descending list. The first is to come back alive. The second is to get the whole way around. Because that in itself would be an enormous achievement. So single-handed alone, non-stop around the world. For any one of us as entrants would be just such a great thing to achieve. And the third is to win the race. But I do say it's in that order, but I'm a really competitive person, and it's a race. So, I want to set the boat up and myself up to do as well as I can, absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
I guess that comes back to the safe choice of buying a Rustler 36 that historically has clearly been a competitive boat in this race.
Yeah, that was in 18, not necessarily in 22. Yeah. I mean, who knows what'll happen? That's a joke against the bloody Rustlers,
But Don, one of the most interesting things for 2022 will be actually exactly that, won't it? There's the Bob Perry designs that weren't in the last race with their long waterline length, and Ian's got his puffin, so we'll see how that goes this time around. So, but no, it's going to be great, and I love being a spectator for the last race. So.
Yeah, that was one of the big disappointments when we, in quick succession, lost RA and Tommy and Gregor, and because it was shaping up to be an incredible race. Mark Slats was there, but Tommy was bearing down on Mark Slats. He was going to sail right past him, and Gregor was holding his own as well. Gregor was closing in, and it was boat for boat. They're all doing the similar things. It would have been fantastic, and losing RA was just like besides everything else, we love RA. It was a total disaster because he was just knocking everyone out. RA was flying.
And Don, the other interesting one will be Mike Davies. Cape Dory 36.
That's a hot boat. I've always said the Cape Dory. In fact, the Cape Dory and the Saga 36, they're dark horses in my mind. The Saga 36 is cool. Too bad there's an Irishman running it. That's a bit of anyway. Joke.
Pat describes that boat going at very high speeds, but when you watch Pat's videos on Facebook of that boat sailing it, the Saga sails beautifully.
Well, here's a guy that knows. At the end of the last race, I was having a conversation somewhere with Mark Slats. I'm not sure where it was. And I said, if you did it again, Mark, what did you do? And he says, I don't know, maybe Saga 36. But he's still got his boat. I don't know what he'll do. He's focusing on his rowing right now. In fact, that brings up something that I haven't mentioned, for everyone would have buggered off by now. But anyway, the anniversary of 2 years to the start, 2 years from the start of the 18 races on July the 1st. So we're going to we'll send a message out to all the previous entrants from 18, and we will see who wants to come on here. And if we get 8 or 9 of the previous entrants that want to have a chat, I'll get a 3 or 4 minute catch up. Hey, what you doing? Blah, 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 blah. We'll try and schedule it. Jane's going to shuffle them around and so on. So we'll do next week's Tuesday live with you, Matthew. Okay, and then on Wednesday, that's July the 1st, we're going to see who pops up for a chat from the 18 race, and we might have, because we can actually put 4 things on here. We can have 4 of us up at the same time. If I drop a photo in, that's what happens. Boom, boom. I don't know what happens if we go more. I think we can have more. So we might have a whole bunch of 2018 guys up next Wednesday. So we'll watch out for that. Anyway, that's all cool. So we're just about pushing time. So I'm gonna get rid of you, Matthew, because I didn't want you to say too much, and talk about your emergency medicine adventures in the medical profession. It'll be good to have a medic in the race. You might get a lot of, well, I hope you don't, but anyway, you might be people with headaches or something, Okay, Matthew, so good to chat. Thanks for coming on now. We'll see you next week, eh?
Yeah, see you next week. Thank you.
Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.
Matthew.
Yeah, so he's got some good stories there. I didn't want to say too much because otherwise there's nothing to talk about next week, So okay. So what's your what else would you like to say? There must be something that you'd like to say to people before we wrap up.
Well, you didn't ask me what my secret weapon was going to be to beat Matthew,
what's
right?
Secret weapon?
What's my secret weapon? Well, Isfan gave me my secret weapon because Isfan is obviously my mentor and my guru, right? So not only did he provide me with a boat, but he also provided me with a lifetime supply of wild mackerel in cans, which I believe is a great sponsor of Isfan. So and Isfan was not going to run out of food. I've been eating.
So you're going to have them. They'll be 5 years old by the time the race is up.
Perfect.
That's perfect.
Perfect.
Absolutely. I agree. I've got tins of fish in the shelf here. You know, once it starts, you can never get over it. It's a good tucker, so that's okay. That's all right.
That's the secret weapon.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Good to chat, eh? Good luck with everything, and we're around. We'll be talking again, no doubt. We were just saying to Jane today, we're at 7. When we get to the end, we'll probably just loop around and maybe keep them shorter again, go the cycle, see what people have done, because it takes 6 months to get there. But we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it'll be fun if we get some entrants from last year's event. I mean, the 2018 GGR. So, all good. Okay.
Right? So you got Tapio on and everything, so that'd be great. Fantastic, Don.
Yeah,
Really good.
no, well, Tapio's got a listing for next one, so because he's in 2022, of course, you know. Tapio actually launched his boat. He's a classic, eh? He launched the Swan 55 for the Ocean Globe race and took everyone out. You know, he's got kids on board again doing the whole thing. And he's got one of his crew does great videos, all right? One of his crew is filming everything and doing all this stuff to music. He just did another classic on his Ocean Globe race boat. So he's quite hectic. He's running 2 boats, lots of people. I hope well, I know he's got a lot of people helping him, but he's still got 100 sponsors. So amazing guy. Okay, that's about it. So good to chat in, and we'll see you again soon, eh?
Yeah, see me soon. See everyone on Facebook.
Okay. Safe sailing. I hope you get out there, eh? It must be very frustrating.
Yeah, crossing.
So,
end of July.
Yeah,
End of
okay.
July, we're on the water. Guaranteed.
Sounds good. I hope to be sailing in September, but that's another story. Okay, we'll see you later. Yep. Okay. Bye-bye. See ya. So that's the end of another session, number 7. So we'll see you next week, same time, same place. And that's who I forgot. I keep forgetting about Shane. Jane's just, well, he mustn't be watching. Shane's not watching. That's why I forgot him. So yeah, we've got another Australian entry. So we're chocker with Australian entry. So Shane, sorry I forgot you there. How could I forget you? Cheapest. Never mind. Okay, so we'll see you next week. Bye bye.